So now you've got everybody, but when when a guy walks out and sits Indian style for fucking 45 seconds and they get 72 million hits, I think you've done what you can say whatever the fuck you want about Phil. And I hope I hope for the WWE and for Paul that it's successful as fuck. And I hope for him it is. Sean Waltman and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about straight edge. It's always been his thing that he's straight edge. And I think it's straight edge would mean in every category, whether it be antidepressants, whatever it is. So as life goes on and you continually get involved in these situations that are at times, I'm sure he's in retrospect looked back and said, well, that fucking cost me $5 million. That cost me this. That cost me this. So, and you're not smoking a little cannabis to fucking take the edge off, or you're not having a glass of wine. I think that it's very difficult to not in any form or fashion just to absorb.
So you're saying it could help him to be a little less straight edge, maybe take the edge off.
I'm not saying in any way use drugs or alcohol or anything illegal, but maybe maybe there's a bipolar, or maybe there's Paul says that Paul Levesque says, I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah.
And
so did Punk in the ring.
And Punk said, yeah, but so if let's just say you're a serial rapist.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to say a plumber, but serial rapist.
I was bored today, so sure.
Yeah, serial rapist. And, you say, well, 10 years ago, he was a serial rapist. Oh, but I'm a different person and he's a different person. Oh, wait. He just raped somebody 9 months ago.
So right, because Punk might have been a different man than he was 10 years ago in WWE.
But he still had an episode.
In AEW. Right.
In AEW.
Right.
So, to the point of, even though in retrospect now, Bryan Danielson is saying, hey man, I wasn't I wasn't Wyatt Earp on this fucking committee. I just had a voice.
Despite the beard.
Yeah. Right. But nice. But I did have a voice in determining whether he was terminated or not. And if anybody knows Bryan, I think you couldn't pick probably a more level-headed guy in the locker room than Bryan. I mean, he's just.
He owned it. Like they asked him.
Yeah, no,
was it hard to say that, to give a thumbs down to a friend? And he was like, absolutely.
Sure it is.
Answer.
But
yeah.
It's the same point. I mean, when it's Bryan that makes a decision, it's like, wow. So obviously it was, it was very warranted. So
Paul has seen all the shit about AEW and talked to people over there. So he knows what went on 6 months ago. So there had to be a private conversation.
Absolutely.
There had to be a moment where they agreed that the public message would be, people can change, you've changed, I've changed, we're going to give it another go. This is what the people want. But Paul had a moment where he said, motherfucker, this is wiffle ball. The major leagues.
Yeah, this is wiffle ball, motherfucker. One strike.
And you're gone, because I can't deal with that shit. So